So two mangaka have come together to make Dr. Stone. The person working on the story is famous for making Eyeshield 21, and the person working on the art of the series is famous for doing Sunken Rock. Most likely, you have heard of both of these series. Most likely, if you've only heard one, you've heard of Eyeshield 21. I can understand if you haven't heard about Sunken Rock. It's a seinen, and not a lot of people know about it, but if you do know about it, you know how good the series is and how good it looks. So overall, these two mangaka that have made Sunken Rock and have made Eyeshield 21 have come together to make Dr. Stone. Now, this first chapter has just came out today, a little earlier today, and right now there's only one chapter out at this time, which just got translated. And I gotta say right now, this series has potential after the first chapter because of the premise of it. So many of you are probably thinking like, okay, so what is it about? Well, number one, it is definitely a supernatural type series, and it's a post-apocalyptic series. For instance, taking place after like a major disaster wipes out majority of humanity. Now hear me out, I know we get a lot of, stuff to where humanity is pretty much dead, but there is a little bit of a difference when it comes to this series, which I'll explain in a moment. But overall, the series does have a lot of potential. There's a lot of unique things about the first chapter that really makes it stand out, and it really does seem to have, many ways it can go. For instance, with its story, there's a lot of potential arcs and storylines that we can get throughout the series that could be really, really entertaining, and it does seem like it could actually potentially turn into a very long-running series, depending on where the mangakas want to take it. Now, for now, though, the one bad thing about this series, after reading the first chapter, and it's the only thing that really was bad about it, and it's the only thing I feel like many are probably going to dislike about this first chapter, and that will be the main characters. Now, yes, not one character, two characters. There's two main characters of this series of Dr. Stone, two main male characters, and they're pretty much bros. They're best friends, they're bros in school, and eventually they survive after, the apocalypse, and that's where kind of the story begins. So, these two characters, overall, their personalities are kind of, very quirky. They have a very quirky personality, but overall, the characters are very generic. They're very flat. They don't have anything else really going for them besides them being very energetic and quirky, but there's nothing else to them. They're just kind of there, and they're kind of like, okay, they're flat characters for now, but there is potential possibility for them to become excellent characters down the road. And judging by how many love Eyeshield 21, I'm going to assume these characters are going to become very good characters in the future. We just got to see where, the mangaka wants to take them. Now, besides that, let's talk about the summary, or the plot of the series. So, the apocalypse is where, some form of event happens to where it turns everyone into stone. Reference to the title, Dr. Stone. Everyone becomes petrified. On the entire planet, everyone becomes stone. So the entirety of humanity dies. Everybody dead as fuck. Now, there is some individuals amongst humanity that were turned to stone, and they were able to keep themselves wide awake, and through willpower, managed to break out after 3,000 years and be able to move once again. So, from what we get here is, everybody has died, and the only people that managed to survive to the point in the series are people that constantly had their mind active, constantly moving and thinking inside of their head, and they never stopped thinking at all, because if they did, they would lose consciousness, and they would fade to black, and then they would die. That's what happened to majority of the populace on planet Earth. Everybody died. Everybody, supposed to die because, they lost consciousness, gone. And the only people that are reawakening right now are people that, just have willpower to stay awake. And that's what we see with our two main characters of the series. So, everybody's pretty much dead. There's probably going to be a couple others that are going to be introduced in the series. And right now, it seems like it's going to be a series about rebuilding society. Just rebuilding society and making it to what it once was, and probably even better. Which it seems like a very good premise for the story so far. I mean, as you can see, that's really cool. I mean, everybody's turned to stone. Everybody's fucking dead, pretty much. There is probably some people out there that might, break out of the stone and become, a normal person again because, they had willpower, but it really just depends overall. So there is potential for society to be, continued. It's not completely GG yet, but overall, overall, though, a lot of people have died, and it makes for a very fascinating twist for the story of where it could possibly go, because that means any character can pop up in the future that, you know, supposedly kept thinking for such a long time. So, yeah, and also there is potential possibility for characters being very crazy, because, I mean, you gotta remember this. If you're locked in stone for 3,000 fucking years, you're probably gonna go crazy. Like, oh, legit, like, a lot of people, if you manage to think that long, you're gonna go crazy. You're gonna be, like, thinking random shit and just going Looney Tunes. So, yeah, I could see a lot of crazy characters in this series, too, because of being turned to stone. Now, there's little things throughout the chapter, especially with, you know, like, romance building up in the chapter, which I'm going to assume that's going to go somewhere in the future, because at the beginning, the main plot starts off with the character, one of the main male characters, wanting to confess to this girl, and he was about to confess his love to her, and then, you know, the apocalyptic event happened where it turned everybody to stone, and I mean, holy shit, I've seen a lot of cliches. I've seen a cliche to where constantly, when there's, like, someone trying to admit their feelings for someone, it gets blocked or something, or they just don't get the, you know, express their feelings, but I think this is the first time I've ever seen a actual disaster, a big natural disaster that wipes out humanity, block a person so hard to where they can't reveal their feelings to a girl. That's pretty fucked. Like, that is, like, holy shit, GG. So, yeah, I mean, even though it's a cliche, I just give props for how unique it is, the way they executed that, because I've never seen that. That's definitely something I get points for. So yeah, first chapter, it has some comedy, it does have potential romance, it does seem like it might go into the psychological genre because of being, you know, turned into stone can make crazy characters, it's resetting and, you know, rebuilding society, so it does have a lot of potential to be a great series. It just depends on where the mangaka and the artist want to take it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Dr. Stone? Did you enjoy the first chapter? Did you hate the first chapter? How do you feel about the main characters? How do you feel about the premise? Please be honest in the comments below. And one last thing, which I just need to actually express. Donald Trump was in this fucking manga. Donald Trump was in this manga. Like, I'm not even shitting you. Like, if you noticed, Donald Trump was, like, in the White House and all that. And he's like, terrorist attack! And then fucking, he got turned to stone. And I'm like, oh my. Like, if Donald Trump actually popped up in this series, we know what he'd be using his wall. He'd be using people to build his wall. Okay, that was a little bit dark. But anyways, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.